What's going on, guys? In today's project, we're talking about a pair of USA-made Danner boots. Now, made in the USA since 1932, these boots are built to last. They're built for loggers, soldiers and explorers, and Danner are known for their stitch-down construction, which we'll go into a little bit of detail during the rebuild process. These shoes do still have a little bit of life left in them, but this isn't a repair, it's more of a customization. Today, we're going for full blackout mode. New hand-stitched leather black mids, and a nice sleek Vibram outsole. We're going to get these guys looking fresh, so join us today for the full Danner rebuild. Okay, so we're going to begin the breakdown process on these Danner boots. So first off, what we're going to do is just take our tool, we're going to pry away where the stitch down welt and the sole meet, and then we're going to get a knife in there and break all these old stitches. Because this being a stitch down construction, this is the only way that we can get these soles taken apart. Alright, so that's our soles torn off, and I have to say, first look on the inside, I'm super disappointed with the materials that they've used for these. This should be a leather footbed, but instead they've opted for a cardboard piece of paper, which is just really bad in my opinion. That really should be leather with the price point that these shoes are. The stitch down construction, there's nothing wrong with that at all. This is your main issue. Got a big crack there at the flex point, so what we're going to actually have to do is we're just going to patch this. We're not replacing it with a leather footbed because the customer hasn't wanted that, so we're just going to patch the crack that we've got here, and then we'll put some cork in here, and that should hopefully bring some structure back to the bottom of the shoes. Let's get this nice leather midsole stuck on now. Alright, so let's talk about this type of construction. This is called a stitch down construction. Now if you look at a proper Goodyear welted shoe, like this Thursday boot that we did, this has a leather welt which is stitched to the boot, so that's a separate piece of leather. But with a stitch down construction, you've actually got the leather upper comes down and folds out at the sides, and that's what's glued down, stitched through, and that's what keeps everything together. So instead of it being just a separate piece of leather like a Goodyear welt that we stitch on, these ones come down, fold down, and get stitched through, and that's what keeps it all together. So that's what calls a stitch down construction. Now a stitch down construction is a pretty decent construction for a shoe. The only downside for when you're repairing is we need to hand stitch it, so it's extremely time consuming. I've done one shoe already and it took me about an hour to do, but that was getting stopped in between customers coming in, so probably without interruption you're looking about 40-45 minutes to get this shoe properly stitched round. So a little bit time consuming, but that's what we've got to do to get this type of shoe looking good. So it's the same kind of stitching for when you've seen me do welt stitching before. We're pulling our needle up through, pulling the thread through, looping that through the hole that we've just made, and that's what we use to tighten round, and that creates our stitch. So we're just going to go ahead and do the whole shoe the same kind of way, and I won't bore you with the entire process because the video would be way too long. So I'll show you a couple of stitches now and a couple as we go along. Alright guys, so that's us completely done with this week's project. Let me know what you guys think about this blacked out version of these Danner boots in the comments below, and we'll catch you in next week's video. I think they're super fresh. Peace!